Hello viewers, and welcome again to another experience of Universal Energies. This is the program that gives you the tools so you can understand all about the fascinating subjects that we have on here as we're going along. Before I introduce my guest, he has been on before, and we briefly talked about what he does around the aura and how colours can change within our lives every day, and we can understand that there's a positive and there's a negative for everything, especially with colours. We call them chakras, but energy centres, or if you want to call them that, they're all the same. So let me introduce you without further ado to Mr. Kevin Doe. Pleased to meet you again.
Good morning, Robert.
Good morning to you. Now Kevin, I know that there is so much information about the aura, so let me hand it over to you and let me say thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you. Well, as you've just rightly said, it's a very deep subject. Where do we start, where do we finish? With all energies, there is no beginning, there is no end. It's a circle of energy. Circles are like our chakras, spinning energy vortices within parts of our human body. Chart behind us very clearly shows us the human body, shows us in different forms, and it also shows us the chakras being the centres over the relevant parts of the body. So it also shows us in the colour spectrum, starting from red at the base, orange, yellow, green, indigo, purple. There's a slight deviation between the colours between those two, because some suggest that it's blue, others suggest that we go into purples and we go into white at the top. But depending on what energies we're using and what part of the world we're coming from, we see many different chakra maps. So this, we're seeing a 7 chakra map. We can see them far beyond that. So if we go back to Indian times, we can see nadis on the fingers, on the hands. Chakras in the hands and the major points of the human body. So, but for today, for the aura, we'll stay with what we have in the colours.
Can I just ask, if you don't mind, do you think there's any comparison between the rainbow that we see at times?
Very much so. Colour splits. Most of us know that if you split the sunlight, sun travels 186,000 miles per second. If you split it through a prism, we split it into the 7 rays of light. The 7 rays of light, incidentally, line up with the chakras. The chakras are red going through to white at the top. From white you have every colour. So yes, very much so. Also, it ties up, the chakras tie up with the central endocrine system of the human body. So the central nervous system. So Chinese, Indian, wherever you are in the world, they knew that knowledge a long, long time ago.
Yes,
it's not new to us.
No, it's not. No, I just find it fascinating. I'm sure the viewers will find it fascinating as well, to understand that they can almost think themselves healing through the aura.
That's very true.
They can give themselves that positive vibe, is the word today, if you like.
Yeah.
Well, it was when we were there, the 60s anyway. But they can give them that understanding that they can have that positive charge of energy that through the colours, if they just think or meditate, if they do, on that colour.
Yeah. Many scientific studies have proven that if you put different colour light discs underneath a glass of water and you work with that for a few moments, you can actually imbue that water with the strength of the colour, the vibration of the frequency of light, which is the rainbow. Yeah. So yeah, that's very factual. It's correct. Quantum physics proves that fact as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, sorry to interrupt you, because
you were absolutely fine.
So let's have an explanation of the chakras, the energy centres.
Right. Okay. Well, we start, if we go to our man standing in the corner here. We start with the base chakra. The base chakra is it's your survival. It's the point of start. Me, myself and I, we talk about being the 3 base chakras. The second chakra is the sacral, and we're talking about sexuality. We're talking about moving on, procreation, moving forward, expanding our knowledge and our energies towards someone else and within ourselves. The next chakra we're coming up to the solar plexus. When we come to the solar plexus, we talk about gut feeling.
Yes, right. Yeah.
People talk of hurting or feeling sore across the gut is the liver, and the liver is the organ of love. So whether we've experienced love in a good capacity or bad, that is the feeling where we feel raw. So when we've had upset, we talk about a gut feeling or a kick in the gut.
Yeah.
If we move up to the heart, we go up into green. Green's are empathy. Empathy is about expansion. So the first three we were saying is me, myself and I. We're starting to work expansively when we work at the heart. We were going beyond ourselves. We were learning about self-healing, but we were learning about healing others as well. So people that are carers, they usually they carry a lot of green, but they're the empathics amongst us. We go up into, I'm going to use blue today as being the throat chakra because it is the most common known as being the blue. Blue is about healing, it's about protection. Native American stone of protection is turquoise. So it's no surprise that we're seeing blue there. It's usually a lighter blue than a darker, but the difference is if you wear blue at the throat, you give someone courage. But blue is also about the ability to communicate.
Absolutely.
You know, if you're a good orator, wearing a blue shirt, if you're going, if you're giving a talk or a demonstration, it's the ideal colour. As we now move up to the third eye, the third eye is your perception. If we look at anything to do with the Egyptians, we see the third eye.
The pineal gland.
That's right, the pineal gland. The pineal gland is suggested these days is shut down to what it was many years ago. But it's our point of perception. It's our third eye. It's our vision on the world beyond the five senses. And then we move up to what would be white. White would usually take us to every single colour. With this particular chart, we're showing it as a magenta range, but it's because it's also about love and self-love. And if at some point we get to a point of understanding that we need to love ourselves to be able to expand beyond into universal love. So as I said a few seconds ago, me, myself and I, the first. Expansive and collective at the heart. Going beyond that, it's expansive, universal. It's anything and everything, the all that is. So white brings us every single colour, but it also brings us divinity.
I find it fascinating, I'm sure I've heard it well again, that this is nothing new.
That's right.
This is something that's happened many. We've known all this, and whether you believe in past lives or you're just a fanatic on history like I am, and it comes across in different civilizations and cultures. May not call it the aura, may not call it chakras, but you can relate to what has been said through the energies that they picked up through the organs that represent what we call chakras.
Yes, definitely.
So, now we know about the chakras, there are positive and negative sides of everything. We know that.
That's right.
Okay? So, and when you get a person like yourself who may give an in-depth reading of a person's aura, you can pick up different positive and negative traits for that. And being a medium, the same as me, we try not to put too much emphasis on the negative because we can be dealing with vulnerable people.
That's right.
That are there. But would you like to just give us some insight of maybe pick a colour at random or just have a look and go through briefly the colours and see what the negative and positive may be on a certain colour?
As you know, I do the shows around the country. I pick up one of my cards now and I'll show it to the camera just for a few seconds. On my cards we have a brief definition of the colours. If we start with red, as you rightly say, everything is about balance. When we have balance, we find a place of equilibrium. Equilibrium in the power is resonance, and resonance is harmony. So when everything is hunky-dory, for want of a better word, we're settled. Finding the balance in the colours is also incredibly important because we can be in some people say, oh, I don't want to be this colour, or I don't want to be that colour.
Yeah.
But the important fact is that it's how the colour is, where it is, and what it's representing at the time. So if we start with red, most people say, I don't want red because it's anger. But anger is, the opposing side of anger is passion. Passion and anger are the driving forces behind, usually entrepreneurs are the most common people that have the traits. They have the ability to cut through anything that gets in their way within reason. So if a new rule comes out tomorrow, Europe decides that we're going to do this, we're going to do that, all of a sudden what they were doing yesterday is not correct. They will find a way through it, round it, with it, to accept the new set of rules that they're now working under, but they will find a way of making it workable for themselves. That's very much the entrepreneur. So that's the red. I'll go up into, we'll go to blues for a few seconds, just to show a comparison. Blue is a healing colour. It's a good vibrational colour. It's about depth of feeling, but it's about communication.
Yeah.
The positive side of blue is the ability to speak, to heal, and to understand others. The negative side of it can be over control, a need to have control.
Definitely, yeah.
And a need to stay control. And as we know from, and I'll say it, from politicians, they use words very well. They don't always use it for the best outcome, but they use it for whatever outcome is desired at that time. So words can be used and twisted. So blue can be used to actually control as well as it can be to free.
Yeah.
And if we go up to white, we've got spirituality. We've got expansion. We've got growth. We've got that feeling of we talk of astral travel. Astral travel is it dream state? Is it going beyond the here and now? There are many different theories out there with different types of travel. One of those being remote viewing. Remote viewing was a method that was used by governments around the world.
There's quite a lot in the media about that at this moment.
Is there really?
And we do understand. We know about that. So, but things are coming along whereby. Don't you find that it's more out there today? Before we go on to how all has progressed, if you like, and you go and carry on there, don't you find that more people are wanting to know now?
Very much so.
More people are inclined to make more choices, if you like. They've always had choices. We've always had choices.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're more likely to go from maybe a dictatorial situation to wondering, well, I feel like that. He's talking and I feel like that.
Yeah.
I feel that my energies are a bit low, and maybe what he's talking about, so the red colour is what I need. I need that boost.
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
It's very true. People are searching now. Depending on where you are in your life's path, the things that you've done, you come to a point where you look beyond yourself, and that's when we talk about being in the heart, being expansive. When we're expansive, we're also open to thoughts, feelings, and expressions of other people. So with our aura, we say see, sense, feel, experience.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
So it's our intuition.
Yeah.
But the intuition also allows us to tie into someone else's thoughts and feelings. So people are seeking. People are seeking probably more now than they ever have done. But is that progression? Is that evolution of the mind or the spirit?
Well, I'd like to say evolution of the spirit, but people are thirsty for knowledge.
That's true.
They're a bit like sponges now.
Yeah.
In this situation we've got here now. And that's a generic situation for all the people here. They're wanting to find out. They're, I think, fed up with situations that are practical, in their face, that are there. Questions that haven't been answered for themselves.
Yeah.
There may be lots of generic questions and they're harder, they're going around here. I think they're fed up to a situation of maybe the control, and it could be anything from the church to politics, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
They're wanting to be a great phrase is, I just need to be in the open. I just need to sit there and be with nature.
Yeah.
You know, and there's more of that today.
Yeah.
And I think if we look on that, that's how people are inquiring at this moment and thinking about themselves. Oh, but sorry to interrupt. Do carry on.
No, it's absolutely fine. As you say, people are searching. They're searching first within themselves and then beyond. But there's an incredible amount of knowledge. The tree of knowledge. You know, depending on where you go around the world, they talk of the tree of knowledge or the tree of life. Within that, you have so much. You have Mother Earth grounding. You have the dark souls, the dark colours where there is no light. As you come up through the spectrum of light, coming back to the rainbow, you've got white light at the top of it. It's still another representation of this one and the same thing.
Yeah, I think we put labels on an awful lot of people and lots of situations today.
That's right.
It'd be really nice if people didn't do that, but that's human nature, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And a great phrase to go on about is that we don't judge.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, that we're still in a situation where we do judge automatically without even thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of the souls that we judge, just because they happen to be a bit different to ourselves, maybe.
Yeah.
And I think that's how another form of the sponge and questioning and going out there.
Yeah.
I like to think it's like the chakras work in a spiral, and I like to think that we're starting for that spiral and that vortex that's coming up here and helping us and bringing up those energies through the aura, through the chakras, if you like, and helping us. We're going along, and that changes people's perceptives of things as we go.
Yeah, very much so. Well, as we were saying, the interaction between colour, the interaction between two people, it gives us the ability, they say, for fight or freeze. It's also like, dislike, love at first sight.
Yeah,
so that interaction all the time is constantly going. But it's suggested now, science is saying, this is a heart vibration. It's more than just that the mind is, it's the mind that programs and controls everything, where we're now talking that when you open up to the heart, when you breathe very shallow through the heart, as you know, with many spiritual experiences, when you use your breath, it's your breath that opens you up.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we
definitely
draw in the breath, and when we use the breath at the heart level, we expand our energy. When we expand our energy, we let the light in. Buddhist traditions use light for meditation. When you're sitting the suggestion of a lotus flower or whatever, the purity, the cleansing, drawing in the light. Many indigenous peoples around the world were doing that in many different ways.
Absolutely,
Different types of ceremonies, but nevertheless the light. Ra.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, I'm on.
The Aten, the sun.
Yeah, absolutely.
The energy, it's coming back to light.
Yeah.
So light is the very essence of everything around us. So bringing it back to our energy, to our colours, etc. Our colour is the colour that we're representing at that time when we're reading auras and when we're seeing people's auras is what's available. It's the interaction between anything and everything around us. Knowing how to use that colour. So say for argument's sake, I'll take yellow. Yellow are usually people with happy dispositions. They're expansive, but they also like to know how it works. How does it work? Why does it work? When does it work? And if it doesn't suit me, they'll step away. They're usually, however, the nurturers.
Yeah.
They're the motherly characters amongst us. They're the people that have the ability to go the extra mile. To me, they are the best teachers because they give it from the heart. But unfortunately, having a heart that's open is a heart that can also be broken.
Absolutely.
So the balance between the two, seeing, just a very few examples there of how that can be changed. It's where we are on our life's path as to whether we are vulnerable and open, or whether we're acceptant and able to move forward from that point.
Yeah, I think that it's almost like through the aura and through the mind and with the sponge, it's given us choices, informed choices.
Always.
And whether we take them or not is on our pathway.
Yeah.
or not,
Yeah.
whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
But I find it fascinating because I like to think that people will choose, and if it's not right for them, they'll take another road,
Yeah.
and they'll choose again
Yeah.
until they get it right, maybe,
Yeah.
or till it suits them and they feel contentment.
It's about learning, isn't it, Robert?
Absolutely.
Because we all,
yeah.
we all come to a point in our lives where we realise it's that, I've got certain circumstances. I've been in this place
Yeah.
before, but at some point, it's like, I know what I've done last time, and you actually recognise that
Yeah.
you change.
Absolutely.
You edit your path, or you change the way you act. You always have choices.
Yeah.
The choice is simply doing nothing. When we, if we're disadvantaged or we've got in that position, and this is a really good time to bring up purple. Purple is the mystic colour. It's enchantment. It's spiritual purpose. But the negative side, believe it or not, is depression.
Yeah.
It can be when we become disenfranchised, or when we become too disassociated with the day-to-day processes of our body. We can get to a point of feel that we're failing or that we're not good enough.
Yeah.
So then we take that energy, it converts into anger or upset, and it becomes repressed. And repressed energy, dark
Absolutely.
purples, are the what they call the dark night of the soul. But it's it takes us into a point of reflection.
It does.
When we go into a point of reflection, we talk about the phoenix rising. We go into a dark place, we reflect for a period of time, and then we shift and come out the other side. When we shift and come out the other side, we're expansive and we're at a point of learning. But by cleansing and clearing through process, and usually meditation is one of those that people use, or what other vices or choices they take in life, when they do come out of the other side of it, they realise that for whatever reason they didn't particularly like the fact that they'd gone through the process, but nevertheless, once they come to a certain point in their life, they realise the necessity of actually the growth
Yeah.
of that process.
I agree. I quite agree. I mean, we've heard a lot of people. The saying is they're quite up there, really up there.
Yeah,
And when they come down with a bump.
that's right.
I don't know if it's a good, bad, or indifferent thing, but that's an individual choice again that they do. But sometimes that we need that balance. We've got to have that balance to start with, and we haven't got that balance. We've got discords, so that either we're down here,
Yeah.
and we're grounded too much, whereby we don't want experience, don't want having any choices. We're quite happy where we are. And the next one is that we're completely out there, away with the fairies, if you like,
Yeah.
and we're up there, and everything is filtered through that, and we're not grounded one little bit.
Yeah.
But there again, it's the sponge, I think, soaking up knowledge again, and programs like this and interviews like you,
Yeah.
with you, to give people the tools to find out for themselves.
Yeah. Seek and you shall find.
Absolutely.
That is probably one of the most common phrases I use, but to me, and I'm sure it is to many other people that have walked this path, it is the most honest.
Yeah.
Because when you start to look, you'd be surprised at synchronicities to come into play to bring you either, is it back onto a path that you've chosen before, or is it guiding you to your future that at some level you desire?
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it does bring you back to that path.
Absolutely.
Synchronicities in life, however they may come, you start to think, I've just done that, I've just read this. You're on a pathway.
You and me are very much alike, whereby we give people tools, but we're also very practical because we give them the information in black and white.
Very much.
I am a medium, and as a medium, if you like, taking nothing away from you, my friend, but as a medium, you like, that I can prove life after life, and that's what I'm there for, mediate between the two, nothing else here. But having said that, then I give people the tools and the information to find out and research for themselves in different aspects.
Definitely.
Too long have we gone through a road whereby we've been dictated to and controlled by, whether it be our peer pressures, schooling from a young age, whatever it happens to be. And sometimes when we get to a point whereby teenagers, we all rebel, I know I did, we don't want to rock any boats, because at the end of the day, that's the way we're brought up. and it stays with us here.
Yeah.
How do you think that would reflect in your colours in a situation like that?
That's a very, very interesting one, but it's the difference. I guess if we take the ego. The ego is the basis. It's the protection. It's the system, which is the thinking, the educated mind.
Yeah.
The two parts of the mind. There's 4 sections of the brain. If you can split the brain completely in half, and you have two brains, of which you've got what they call a mammalian centre at the centre of that, but we still have a pineal gland, which is the light, which unfortunately these days is closed off to what it has been in the past. However, saying that, bringing it back to colour, if we consider that that our mindset gets us stuck in the thinking world, so that would tie to yellow within reason. Yellow is about knowledge, as we've just said. It's about knowing, understanding, make decisions for the right reasons. But we actually take it back a step, come up a step. So if we come from the yellows up into the greens, when we get into the greens, we're into the heart. When we use our breath, when we're expansive, that's our dyslexics. Our dyslexics live a feeling experience. Anyone who's in the caring professions, etc., they feel. They use their intuition many times.
Absolutely.
Systems, unfortunately, in the thinking world, close us down to work within the protocols. Necessity, yes, for safety and for making sure that there is an equilibrium in the practice that is given, but it should never be at the cost of the care that should be provided.
That resonates with me because, as you know, I was in a prison service dealing with special needs in those days. I went to main camp as a support worker and team leader and manager. And when you deal with, my speciality was epilepsy and autism, vulnerable people, then I could see, I was lucky enough because I could see auras, and I still can, and I was lucky enough to see them, to help them through, no communication a lot, but to help them. And I think that's an awful lot to do with society today. Going back to the judging people for that, just because a person has got no communication does not mean to say that they're silly.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, we're labels again.
Yeah.
So it's educating others around, and that's what they're doing. I feel very certain that they're put on this planet, this earth, to educate us.
Yeah.
Because they're all around. Anyway, we won't go into that. We'll go into that later on. But sorry, do carry on.
No, you have to try. Hearing these small stories actually helps people equate where they are in their lifetimes, reflections they've had, sometimes members of their family. There is so much to learn from people, from learning disabilities, and from those around us that are less fortunate than themselves.
Absolutely.
But I guess you could also say, who is it that's actually disadvantaged here? If we consider ourselves in a materialistic world, we would consider someone with learned disadvantages. But if you consider it another way, their soul strength, their spiritual strength is something that's far greater than ours. So how we consider them to be in, I guess, a prison, in some ways, to them is a world that doesn't have to consider a lot of the problems that are self-imposed by the ego.
Absolutely.
So are they freer than us? Are they?
I do think they're advantaged because we're using 5 senses, physical senses.
Yeah.
But yes, that's quite true. We don't know what they're using, but we can see. They say windows to the soul's eyes, windows to the soul. But we can see through our eyes.
Yeah, very much so.
And no matter anybody, they could, if something is right, they will tell you one way or another.
Yeah.
And if it is right, they will tell you that way as well.
Yeah, their ability for honesty is something that you can't edit out.
Absolutely.
And if it's something that's not right with someone, they can see past the smiling eyes.
Yes.
And they know if there's another agenda, and they'll be very, very quick to shout.
Yes,
if that
they will.
If that comes to play, which is great, because isn't that honesty?
Of course it
It's
is.
something
Truth and
sometimes
honesty,
is lacked in many different areas.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, I think we're just
So,
getting diverse.
yeah,
in
we're
here just a
diverse
bit.
in a bit. So let's take gold. How do you place gold within the chakra system? It's a very difficult one, because if we consider how gold is made up as a colour, it's red, oranges, yellows. But in my reading chart, I place it third in the tree,
Right.
because it takes knowledge, it takes passion, but it also takes creativity. But people that have those in abundance have abundance, and gold is the colour of abundance. So gold is a colour usually we see across the crown. Is someone that's holding abundance in understanding beyond themselves. So let's pull it back to some sort of theory. Carl Jung.
Yeah.
Carl Jung spoke of, and he'd done many studies, that consciousness existed beyond himself. He considered, by using many different methods, to try and experience something beyond the normal thinking brain. He used different, I think he'd done experiments on LSD, various other things, to take himself out of his mindset, so he could experience something outside of the thinking. And then he tried to tie his theory. He was born too early. If he was born today with quantum physics being the modality that's used in many different routines for thinking and appraisals of new ideas, he'd be in there at the top of the tree. He was an incredible man.
I think there's a lot of people born too early.
Yeah.
And the great scientists, scientific minds of today have got an awful lot to learn from people of different cultures.
Yeah.
Who were not, as we call, scientifically trained, if you like.
Yeah.
Are not understanding basic knowledge that we have, primitive, if you like.
Yeah.
We've got a great deal to learn from there, you know. We are now in a situation where we are experimenting and pushing ourselves out there an awful lot more. And as someone just said to me the other day, we must be very naive to think that we are the only people here.
Exactly.
And it's quite true, of course
Yeah.
it is. I mean, but it's all dismissed, unfortunately. It's a bit of mumbo jumbo that people say, because they haven't got to the point whereby they've received that understanding themselves. Enlightenment, people call it, but I don't really want to put that word enlightenment on it, because that covers, I would just say, awareness.
Yeah. It covers a multitude of probabilities and possibilities.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is, those that are in power, those that are controlling financial, political, religious, whatever, they're all using esoteric practices.
They are. Yeah, I was thinking that. Just thinking that.
How interesting that you see the dollar bill and you see the capstone like the top of a pyramid, and yet we see the all-seeing eye. The all-seeing eye is representative of many different things. The 5%, 95%, but it's also about colour. It's also about a pyramid of power or energy. And it still comes back. It still comes back
absolutely.
to the
There's a lot about
practices
on the
of-
Facebook at this moment, although I haven't been able to see it, but there's a lot in the Facebook at this moment about the pineal gland and Horus, which I'm very much into, and that kind of thing, talking on and lecturing on those sort of subjects. And it seems to have come to the fruition now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things whereby things have been turned out that people have had and archived. I'm just looking at the relics from 1500 years ago that they've got. They just found that Bible, haven't they? And,
I don't know, I haven't come across that one.
They come across a Bible that's been burnt.
Yeah.
And they've just got to, now that's taken all King Solomon's texts around out of it.
Yeah.
And so therefore it actually talks about the way.
Yeah.
And not about the Christianity or anything to do with the church. You know.
Yeah.
And they've actually found that as well. And then going back, we're talking about they found out about 150 years ago that the Catholic Church had put onto the Mary Magdalene about
Yeah. Yeah.
Those kind of things.
Yeah.
They're coming
Yeah.
to the fruition now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, and I think it's a quickening up.
Yeah.
And the aura has got a place more than anything to let people know how they can better themselves, if you like.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Remley Chateau was suggested the place in France where the bloodline was traced to.
Absolutely.
The Knights Templar, secret society, esoteric practice, etc. You know, we could go in so many different.
Zion, yes.
That's right. We could go in so many different directions here, and still come back to the same point. We still can bring it back to intuition, knowledge, understanding, energy, light, frequencies.
Yeah.
It's either it's a harmonic frequency that resonates in truth, or it's disharmony. Disharmony is disease.
It is, yeah.
Emotion, upset within the body, usually plays itself out. You can tie aura also to disease. Something that is held. We spoke earlier about the solar plexus, about the gut feeling. Liver is the organ of love.
It's like, being punched in the stomach. Yeah.
Lack of internalized love usually is where we lack the ability to hold on to many things that are good around us. So we become fragile and insecure. So usually we will lash out at anything and everything around us, as opposed to actually being able to relax and to settle. Again, it's all learning.
It is.
If we use the colour in a positive light, and it's probably a good point to bring this in now. Max Lucia came from the school of psychology and psychotherapy. He was the luminary behind colour psychology. He found that children working in dark, dank environments didn't perform particularly very well, that they were inward and they were less able to assimilate energy or understanding new things. So they experimented with children against bright coloured walls, and then they would have one side of a room bright and another side of it dark. They then expand that into colour, different colours. That was the basis of how we came about getting the colour psychology movement. So
I went to a lecture once, just sparked off, in Surrey, and there was a guy talking about that, Jonathan, somebody his name was, and he was talking on the same, what you're talking about now, it just come true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do think that, it's another string to the bow, isn't it? But it's knowledge.
Yeah.
The more tools you have, the better understanding you have to go forward.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And that's where I suppose the saying comes, one step forward, two steps back.
Yeah.
Because you are going there, and then you're digesting what has been told, and then you're moving forward again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got to take on board, and you've got to assimilate what it is that you learn. Once you have, then you choose whether to use it or lose it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You might adapt something what you've learned by it, but the thing is, you've still progressed in some way, and you always have choices. So coming back to Max Lucia, you can do a colour test. You take random colours, and from those random colours, it gives you a readout, a printout of whatever it is that you've chosen. But you'd be surprised how close that is to the to your emotions, your what we call idiosyncrasies, the little things that you do that build up to be your character, your characteristics, your personality. It's incredible.
It's a subject that always has fascinated me from a very young age, and but rather than going in there, can we just explain to our viewers, if somebody came to you for auric reading, how would you go about it?
Well, usually I would take the photograph. I would ask, if they start to talk about themselves, I would ask them not to.
Right.
I would say, please don't give me any information. I like to, if I'm reading someone, I like to read them cold. I don't like to have any preconceived idea or thoughts or feelings about that person. I just want to, literally, I want to be naked with everything that's available to me. I'll take the photograph. In over a few seconds, as the photograph is developing, so the small photographs that we do here, I take the photograph. In that time while it's developing, it takes about 3 minutes, so I'll heat it through my hand for a few seconds just to warm the chemicals through, and then I'll open it up. but I'll usually ask a basic question. But my common way of opening up to someone, unless something has come in very, very quickly to me, I will ask them for a favourite colour. From that colour, I will analytically give the response to what that colour is. So, say if someone gives me yellow, so I say, can you give me a favourite colour? Some people say, what? Me? So yes. They're like, oh, you've asked me a question. So I said, yeah. If you just go with this for a few seconds. So say yellow, for argument's sake. Yellow is about knowledge, as we've said. It's about understanding. It's about knowing how. Then I will ask them, is it bright yellow? Is it dark yellow? Is it airing towards the golds, the wisdoms, or is it going to the brights, the lighter side? Sometimes those people will say, oh, but I was always thinking of another colour, so I'll ask them what the other colour was. But in that time, I'm starting to connect with that person. The responses that they're starting to give me is the vibration of their voice, and it allows me to pick up on other things. Then I'll go straight into the rest of the reading. I'll look at the photograph, I'll look to see where the colours are, what the colours are. With some people, the analytical process will stay for quite some time. With others, we go straight onto other information instantly.
Yeah, that's why it's fascinating. That's why it never, it always amazes me. And now we know time is going on now, and we have gone over our limit a little bit, but I don't really worry too much about that. Could you explain how aura photography has progressed over the years from when you first started?
We're talking, with these photographs, we're talking about static aura. Static aura is a camera that takes a picture that's there and it's present. We're now into live aura. So when I say live aura, I have a device where we use biofeedback on two different people. We pick up their information and we convert it together. So I can now show you the interaction between two people. I could give you what most people would consider to be an inanimate object, a crystal. We know a crystal is not an inanimate object.
No.
By giving someone a crystal, you will see an energy shift and change within that person, but you see the impact on their aura, you see the colours in real time. So you will see the changes on it. Reflexology oils, sprays, anything. If someone applies something to themselves, of which we've studied people with this that create their own assets to see what they've done, you'd be surprised how the colour shifts and changes. So now we can record it live, we can demonstrate it live, of which I do in shows. We've done it for Tony Stockwell in the past in a very live show. So there's all manner of things. So we've now got to a point where I'm not sure if the viewers would have heard of argumentative reality, but argumentative reality is 3D, and it's the ability to project thoughts and feelings into technology. Well, in that, using 3D and specialist cameras, we can now, if I send my love out from my heart, you can actually see the energy go out from the heart. If I expand my energy through my hands, which the healing process comes from the nadis of the fingers and the palm chakra, you can see that energy go out from the palm. So it's live now. It's moving incredibly quick, Robert.
So when you say it's live, I mean, I understand it, but the viewers won't understand a lot of this. What kind of specialist equipment do you require to take an aura?
With static, I have a standard camera that we use. It's been around for 35 years, and it's
when you say a standard camera, is it a camera that people could buy?
No, it's a standard camera in the aura world. In other words, it's a specialist camera that takes biofeedback information through either 1 or 2 blue plates, and it uses Nikola Tesla's theory of passing energy through the human body. To make something visual, you have to expand it. We're atoms and molecules inside in space, so that expands that energy, and then we can photograph it. So
and you can have cameras today.
We've got cameras that do that.
See how we've really progressed and done these things.
Yeah, there is a filter that's been developed by, I think it's Harry Oldfield. It's the best thing that I've seen to date that is literally just a camera, or that something can work with a camera. and it's still progressing.
Is it like a prism?
It's like it's like layers and layers within a filter that creates a prism, but it certainly helps. At the moment, to my understanding, there isn't a camera that you can take, a nice vibrant picture of the aura. Though saying that, you've seen the picture that I have from a standard digital camera, showing that yes, we can trick light, we can manipulate light to capture it in the etheric energy around the outside of the human body.
I mean, we're not just doing aura here. I mean, if we go into the realms of other dimensions, spirit, if you like, then we can capture orbs and things like that. So in the past, how did people take aura pictures in the past then?
They manipulated light by refraction or by using lenses.
Right. Okay.
But it was usually the first pictures. One of the first pictures I've seen is one of Nikola Tesla's experiment, where he used a lot of energy to illuminate the energy around the outside. But that was just a big ball of light, almost like a plasma light.
Right.
It was just strong light around the outside.
I've heard a lot of Kirlian photography.
Yeah, Kirlian photography was a process where we had photographic sensitive paper, a light box underneath, and we passed a current across the palm of the hand. So you put the hand onto the box, flash the current, and for a few seconds, the coronas around the tips of the fingers, which are your healing hands, they showed those coronas at the end of it. Incidentally, it's something, if I do talks and demonstrations, I go through Kirlian and I show demonstration pictures of Kirlian.
I remember I worked with a lovely lady years ago, and I've told you this before, I can't remember now, I think her name was Angela or something. I can't remember, but I worked with her, and it always fascinated me, and she was doing it with Kirlian photography. It always fascinated me that from a piece of paper, if you like, and without going into detail, and a light box and your hand going on it, you could actually get almost like little prisms that come out onto really fascinating.
Yeah.
So viewers, there we go. You have the tools to sort this out, and I know that there's going to be lots of comments come from this, and I can't wait, and I'm sure Kevin can't wait either. Let me just, before we wrap this up, how can they get hold of you if they need to get hold of you?
I have my own website. It's Aura Interpretations, or aura-interpretations.com. On the website you will find all manner of information, and it will take you into much more depth into the colours, into the chakras, the sounds. There is a vast amount of information on there. So if you want to see the live stuff, go onto the home page. At the bottom right hand corner you find a link. The link is for the live stuff. We're going through a process of a new website at the moment. There will be a lot of stuff on there, that all sorts of videos showing the interaction, healers working, you name it. So.
And I'm sure on the credits that are coming up at the end of this programme, there'll be information, i.e. websites that we've quoted here, or Kevin's quoted here, but they'll be in black and white so they can see them.
Yep, definitely.
But for now, I say thank you so much, Kevin.
Thank you.
Okay, I've never seen this man before in my life. But so much so. And so this is Rob signing off and thanking Kevin once more.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you.